What's going on, everybody? This video is going to be short and sweet and demonstrating my device's capabilities. I'm getting a lot of annoying emails from people, and somehow they're texting my phone too, calling me like a lying asshole, a cheater, and they're basically just not believing anything I say. So, the reason this works is we're dealing with multiple systems. We're turning high voltage electrical energy into magnetic flux, and then we're reconverting that magnetic flux back into electrical energy. When you deal with magnetic flux in an open system like this one is, and I've explained this in many older videos, you will experience energy gains. Again, transmitter just connects to the DC power supply. This is an identical built receiver, and to get the range up to 500 feet or a couple thousand feet, I would connect earth ground to the primary of this receiver, and that boosts the range somehow. I'm not entirely sure why that works, but it does. We have our scope hooked up to the transmitter. It's not turned on. I have a lot of people confused asking me how it's built. I detail that in older videos. It's literally just the entire thing sits. There's 6 inches length total of coil. It all goes by ratios. The L1 is 8 gauge wire, 1 inch long, and we measure it by this way. It's 1 inch long like this. 8 gauge, 1 inch long. Secondary, 26 gauge, 4 inches long. L1 and L2 are wound in the same direction. L3, this is where the incredible effects occur with the L3 high Q coil. This is 2 inches long and wound counterclockwise. You can see that, because this also used to be a transmitter. So, L1, L2, wound in the same direction. L3 is wound in the opposite direction, 2 inches long. So 1 inch, 4 inch, 2 inch. Quarter wavelength, full wavelength, half wavelength. I'll repeat that. Quarter wavelength, full wavelength, half wavelength. L1, L2, same direction. L3, counterclockwise to L2 and L1. I don't know what people are getting confused about. It's not that complicated. The ball is just the icing on the cake you can use. And if you add the ball, it should be either a quarter the size of your system, a medium half the size of your system, or exactly the size of your system. You want to make things equal in mass to each other. Either equal in mass, half in mass, or quarter sized in mass. It's not really that complicated. Old radio books tell you how to do it. Some of old Don Smith's material tell you how to do it. You work with ratios and you're set. We don't count wire lengths. We don't do any of that. We work with ratios, and you can measure the inductances if you want with an LCR meter, which I have multiple of. It's not really necessary to get the effects. You do some of the things I say. Like, if you don't believe me what it can do, or you don't want to buy it, just build it yourself. Any Slayer exciter circuit will drive this thing. You use a tip 35C transistor, and you'll get the effects. The effects come from this extra coil. That's literally all you do. And if you want to make the wireless receiver light, well, that one's not the correct one. That one's broken. Here's one. It's literally just two 1N4148 RF version of the diodes. And you don't need the RF version, it's just a little more efficient. It's just two diodes, up-down configuration, pigtail. You hold, this is the part that would be grounded, the part I'm holding, that my fingers are on. So, that's literally all it is, and it's a jumbo LED. Like I said, it's an open system. That's where the energy gain comes from. We're dealing with magnetic fluxes that we convert. We make magnetic flux and we convert it back to electrical flux. That's, again, where the gain comes from. I use negative resistance components that are nonlinear. That's where another energy gain comes from. So that sums it up and explains it. We also add the earth ground to it, which is another nonlinear component. So that's a quick explanation of it. I've showed this in other videos. This is a response to all the trolls who don't believe me, all the people who are sending me hate mail. You don't have the range up to 2,000 feet. Well, I beg to differ, and I have affidavits signed from my research group and friends who have seen the range up to 2,000 feet, and they were blown away. The transmitter can consume anywhere from 30 to 40 watts, and the range is incredible. This is not your stupid, perverted version built Tesla coil that academia twisted like everything they do. This is almost a real, true Tesla coil, the way he envisioned it. No retarded sparks coming off it. The lights that light up brightly at your distant receiver stations is magic enough. I'm not going for sparks here. I'm going for activation, maximum activation of distant receivers. So this is not a giant spark shooting coil. See inside. That's what inside looks like. This is my test rig. Everything's removable. You can make any Slayer circuit to run this. I'm using exotic components in mine. You don't need that. It just makes mine more power efficient. I use avalanche diodes, negative resistance components, a point contact germanium transistor. But you can drive this with any Slayer exciter circuit. Yours will just be less efficient than mine if you do that. So anyway, this is a completely wireless receiver. And just connecting earth ground to it, that's literally an earth ground connection, will cause the range. I would clip this to here, and the wireless power range would go to 2,000 feet. I don't know why that effect occurs, but it does. Graphite seems to maximize the received energy. I have a receiver coil here, literally connected to the earth ground of my heater, and my isolated metal desk, which acts as an antenna. Ground the bottom of the coil. I'm sorry, the antenna goes to the bottom of the coil, the ground goes to the top of the coil. This is just a receiver. The wire was cut and built to receive a quarter of the wavelength of the transmitter. Anyway, I will turn it on. Well, first I will add the ground to the receiver here. As you see, just a ground connection. Turn it on. We are now active. Oh, and this is a little wireless chain that just sits here. We have extreme wireless power. I could take this, touch it to anything metal nearby, it will light up. This is the radiant energy effect. Very intense, of blown lights that way. I can touch this to anything grounded, it will light up. Don't know why people don't believe me. The receiver is lit fully, and it can also light brighter with amplifier stones, which is a whole other topic for other videos I've shown. As you see, we disconnect the antenna, it gets dim. Or if we disconnect the grounded heater plane, it gets dim. I've had lights blow at this spot. I've had receivers get so bright they blow the light. I could also run a 120 volt bulb there if I wish. Some things I keep classified and won't share with the public because it's proprietary. Okay, anyway, we're back on. Had to pause the video for a second. My roommate wanted to talk to me. So like I said, I keep some things proprietary to our research group. It involves about 50 people now in my main research group that's part of MTech. And we also have a worldwide research group we're part of that has constructed this technology and re-verified it. I didn't truly come up with this. I took something from an 1880s book, and instead of using spark gaps, we used modern components to make it work. We made it solid state. That's all we did. So there's the radiant energy effect. And keep in mind, we're running this at 40 volts under 1 amp. If I ran this at 200 volts DC at maybe 500 milliamps, these radiant energy effects would probably then become over unity themselves. I haven't done that yet because I'm extremely busy with work, jobs, selling these as kits. I'm just one person at the moment. I have people help me, but I'm just one person. And here's how much power is coming off of the ground wire to this wireless receiver. Quite a bit. I've shown in older videos that can light bulbs too. There's nothing under my desk. I'm trying to keep this video short and under 15 minutes. As you see, we have our frequency is 1.15 megahertz on the scope. We have incredible wireless power range with fluorescence, just great efficiency. I can get this up to 7 to 15 feet depending on my power levels. Everyone's seen that, that's boring. But what other people don't know is now I will move this a little bit out of the way so it doesn't impede any of our demonstration. We don't need it. We don't need this for any of our demonstration now that I'm going to show. We'll get this out of the way. For this part of the demonstration, I'll show the over unity effect. These are my exotic diodes. Now what's happening here, and it's hard to do this one-handed, this is just a bridge rectifier. I will connect my exotic bridge rectifier to the collapsed field of my L1. And I shouldn't even be showing this without charging a lot of money. You guys are lucky you're seeing this. This is just to shut the naysayers and trolls up. As you can see, bridge rectifier is connected to the L1, and what's occurring is it's an oscillating field, and when it collapses, the bridge rectifier converts that oscillating magnetic field back to DC. So I will do a meter test, we will run a bulb, we will take current readings, voltage, and then do current and voltage at the same time while running a load. So here's the current, almost 5 amps. Our input's 40 volts, 1.4 amps. We'll just say it's 1.5. Our output is DC. It's pure DC. Those diodes can more than handle the frequency. So there can be no question or argument there. We have almost 5 amps. Short circuit current. We'll do voltage. Almost 72 volts DC, almost 73. So, open circuit voltage, 73 volts DC. Short circuit current, almost 5 amps. And there's real power there. You can see it. I'll connect a halogen load. It's 150 watt halogen load. He will ignite to about 80% intensity. Doesn't cost us much more to run it. Running it slightly reduces the frequency, but not by much. We'll push it a bit, maybe to about 50. As you see, you could probably cook 1 egg off that. Now we will measure the voltage that remains in the system. So I have to get 2 more leads. And I'm doing this one-handed, you have to bear with me. And that's giving off a lot of heat. So the voltage we have that's existing after the load is being run is 25 volts DC. 25 volts DC remains in the system. Now what I will do is I will read the current that's flowing through this. So to do that, I will shut this off. I will run the meter in series now so we can read current. Now I'll get another meter. Okay, I know I had another lead here that was short. I'll use one of these. I just like to keep things clean. So now, we have the meter in series, so we're going to measure the current running through the bulb. There can be no confusion here. We're running the bulb in current mode on the meter in series, so we can see the current, we can read the current that's flowing through the bulb. We have almost 1 amp flowing through the bulb, not quite 1 amp. And I will get my other meter, and we will read voltage that exists in the system. We're just going to have to connect this up now. I'm going to have to connect this meter in voltage mode. Just like to find a black lead. Oh, it's important to note too, while that bulb is running, we still have no degradation of our wireless power. So all the naysayers and people who don't believe me can just suck on that. Like I said, you can build this the way I said it, test it yourself, or you can buy one. I really don't care if you believe me or not. Facts don't care about your feelings. This is forgotten science. Science that modern academia hasn't corrupted yet with their fake thermodynamic laws that only applies to electrical systems, not magnetic flux. So, let me get this in frame. You can see, here's our voltage that remains on the bulb. Here's our current that's going through the bulb. This is our current that's flowing through the bulb. This is our voltage left over while the bulb is being run, and something is smoking a little. Hope you can see that. That's all in frame. We're running the bulb in current mode through the meter. We're using 0.67 amps. We have 45 volts left over. That's how much power the transmitter is consuming. Hopefully you can clearly see all that. We still have impressive wireless power. I can shut this off, everything goes out. There can be no doubt whatsoever in people's minds, whether they like me or not, or what their personal opinion is, I don't care. This technology is real, it works. The DC supply is powering the transmitter. The collapsing magnetic field of the transmitter is turned back into DC electrical flux from the special rectifier. I'm keeping what those diodes are a secret, but they are negative resistance avalanche diodes, a Scotty version, and I'm telling you too much. You want to know more, you're going to have to give us a lot of money. This is proprietary research, and I'm tired of people trying to take advantage of us. So, we developed a system for capturing energy, ambient energy from the environment. That's the science behind it. I more than explain it in older videos. That's the thing too, is like people don't believe anything we say, and it's like the things you're not sure about, you can just go back and look at older videos. Like I really don't understand people. I think some people just like to give us a hard time. So anyway, current flowing through the halogen, remaining voltage while the halogen's under load. That's our input to the transmitter in voltage, input to the transmitter in current. And I'm horrible at math. I have calculators for everything. I'll have to calculate that. We still have impressive radiant energy effects. There is no degradation on the load when doing that. I'm holding this here, and there's no degradation on any of the readings here at all. This system can create unlimited wireless lighting. An important thing to note is if I were to connect an LED straight to the coil without using those special diodes, there would be no power present. And I'm going to try and demonstrate that. I'm going to have to bend these leads almost straight up. I'm going to have to put you right here, so I can bend the leads almost straight up. And if I connect this right to the coil, there's no power present. Something weird's occurring. There's usually no power present if you connect straight to the coil. I'm not sure why this is occurring. Huh. Okay, as you see, there's no power present. There's an effect coming from the desk. This is lit. but this won't light when connecting straight to the coil. You need those diodes, folks. The special diodes is what activates the energy. So anyway, I'm pressed for time today. That bulb is running. You get the idea. Here's the transmitter. There's nothing under my desk. We'll do a quick room tour. Like I said, I can get the range up to 2,000 feet. Friends have seen it. They've signed affidavits. Research group partners have seen it. Family has seen it. I don't care what people believe or if they don't like it or not. People also think the Earth is flat and that the Earth used to revolve around the sun. So I don't care what people think. People used to think the sun revolved around the Earth. Sorry. Been up late. See, this thing will just light up on anything. Here's another model I built. Not connected to power anyway. You can see it also is a great receiver. Just getting it near it will light up. This type of energy can get magnified and retransmitted by a lot of different things. So hopefully this video silences the trolls. And have a good day, everyone.